Hi everyone, Larry WD0AKX, and we made it to the new year, which is a good thing I guess, but time sure seems to be going fast for me anyhow. I don't like that, but what this video is going to be about, a friend of mine who is also a ham radio operator, NXØP, Roger is his name, well, he was going through some stuff a while back and come across an old CB that used to belong to his dad many years ago. It's a Cobra 135 XLR AM and sideband unit. And he dropped it off for me here. He wanted if I could kind of check it over and kind of get it back into working shape like it used to be. So sounds like a good project there. If this is the type of thing you're interested in, that's what we're going to do here in the video. I thought maybe some of you might like to follow along. So let's take a look at this, and we might do a video someday on his dad seeing this radio. Roger's going to put the radio in his shack and have it working, and maybe have his dad stop by and see it for the first time in many years. So I don't know if we'll get that on video or not, but if we do, that'll be posted later. But for now, let's just see if we can get this radio working here, get it back into shape. So we'll check things over here first before we apply power. Check the fuse. Should be a 3 amp fuse in here. And oh my, that's a 30 amp. We need to replace that. So let's open it up here. Just one screw on the bottom to remove, and then there's 4 screws on the rear. And then this wooden housing comes off like that, and then look at the nice shielding this radio has on it. So there's several more screws here to remove to get the shield off on the top side. So I'm going to look things over here a little bit and see if I see anything obvious that's bad, anything that the smoke might have got out of. We'll check the fuse over here, be sure that's good, the internal fuse, and check, that seems to be okay there. I also want to take a look down here in the power supply at the diodes, the rectifiers, to see if they might have burst open or anything. They look okay. Good so far, so we'll turn the switch on here on the radio. Then I want to plug it into my Variac here and bring the power supply up slowly from 0 volts to 120 volts, making sure, checking on the current draw of the radio, making sure the radio isn't shorted out directly or anything. And it is starting to light up here as we increase the voltage. So it looks like we're going to be okay here. The radio is powering up. Oh, a lot of dirty controls here. Scratchy and dirty sounding controls we're going to have to clean up. Go plug the microphone in here and see if we got transmit. Dummy load on the back of the radio, of course. And okay, nothing happening here. We're going to have to look into that. So we've got a problem there, and this pilot lamp is burnt out. It's been replaced before. We'll have to replace that again. So the windscreen on the front of the mic is missing, and one knob on the radio. Those I'll worry about later. They're not too important now. And I see there's no batteries in this mic, so that might help us out here.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2.
A lot of noisy contacts, and the potentiometer here too needs to be addressed yet. So I can see where this radio would be very special to Roger, since his dad used to use it many years ago, and his dad isn't aware it's still around probably even. Now you can see by the meter there, this control is very touchy, very dirty. So I'm going to have to take this bottom panel off. It has the speaker on it. And below that I can get at the controls a little easier here, and then I can clean them. There's switches and the potentiometers. Hopefully I can get at all of them to spray clean them here. And I'll just shoot a little bit of the spray cleaner into the switches and controls here, and then I'll work them back and forth for a little while, see if that cleans them up. Work the switches a little bit here, and we'll check this control. That seems a lot smoother, a lot cleaner there. Looks like that one is working good, and the switches sound a lot better here. Now we'll address this AM indicator bulb that's burnt out. These are called grain of wheat bulbs, so I'm going to replace that. The AM, of course, would burn out faster since the radio is probably left in AM mode most of the time and not in sideband much. And I'm testing out one of the new bulbs, make sure it lights up nice and bright. So we'll go ahead and connect it and heat shrink the connections there. I put a paper towel underneath my work here, so when I was soldering the wires, I knew I'd probably drip a little solder. I didn't want it dripping down into the radio, so it kind of saves it from that. So these bulbs here are very easy to replace. You just kind of slip into position. And you can see it's dimmer now when I have it hooked up, and that's because there's some dropping resistors designed to dim it down a little bit, cut the voltage back. And it saves a lot on the life on the bulb, and you don't want it quite that bright anyhow. Well, we need to do something about this squeaky switch here. I think it's just the plastic rubbing. We need to clean our control here too, so we'll spray clean that with some spray cleaner, tuner cleaner, and work that back and forth. So I'm going to remove the bottom of the mic here so we can get at the switch contacts, and I'm going to spray clean them, just shoot them a little bit, and see if we can put a drop or two of oil on these plastic parts here. Stop that squeak. Just what I wanted to see. Looks like that solved our problem here. Our volume control is still kind of noisy. I'm not quite satisfied with these controls, so I went ahead and took the knobs off and the nuts on the controls, and I was able to remove this board so I can get at all the potentiometers easy and spray clean them that way and work them back and forth. While I have the knobs off, I'm going to let them soak a little in some soapy water and scrub them with a toothbrush. And while I'm letting the pots dry, I'm going to clean up the rest of the radio here with a toothbrush and some soapy water. See if I can scrub it up a little bit. Time to hook an external watt meter and modulation meter up. And looks like we're getting normal power out and normal modulation here.
1 2 1 2 3 4 1 2.
I'm showing about 4
1 2
watts
1
out
2.
into a dummy load antenna. I don't see any mods in this radio, and it's a stock radio, so I would expect that for power. You can see the modulation indicator flicker with the sound of my modulation, the sound of my voice. So looking good except for that windscreen and knob, which I'll deal with later. Normally the SWR knob would be set at RF, and that will show you the RF power output of your radio. It should come into that red zone when you're transmitting, showing normal output power. But to check your SWR, or your reflected power, you want to click that knob and adjust the meter to almost full scale. There's a little red tick mark there up on the upper scale, and you just want to line it up with that. And then to check your SWR to see what your reflected power is, come over to the forward and reflected switch here, push it down to see reflected power, and that's how you check your SWR. And you do want to be in the AM mode when you check your SWR. So we got all the controls cleaned up nice and working very smoothly here, it seems like. And just looking everything else over, I'm not really seeing anything else to be concerned about. And everything is kind of checking the spec as far as transmit goes. As far as receive, it sounds like the sensitivity's there and everything. I did have it hooked up to an antenna earlier and did make a radio check with somebody, but of course when I'm recording video here now, nobody's available. But it did seem to be okay on the air. So I don't have a signal generator, an accurate one, to really test the sensitivity. Be nice to have a Cobra CB tester or something, but I don't have one right now, so that's about all I can do is on-air test. But by the background noise and the signals heard, I think it's working just fine, just the way it should be here. So I think we'll call this project good here. I think we'll put the case on and wrap it up and let it run for a couple of days. Kind of give it a burn in and just make sure it's going to keep working fine. So for the sake of the video, we'll call this complete. Thanks for watching at 7-3. Hello everyone, WD0AKX Larry here. We made it to the new year, so I guess that's a good thing. And